If you think homelessness is fading away in Korea, you might want to look closer. On the surface, the streets of Seoul and other major cities appear cleaner and less crowded than ever before. The bustling avenues, the vibrant shopping districts, and the well-maintained parks all seem to suggest that the problem of homelessness is shrinking. But beneath this polished exterior, a more complex reality is unfolding. One that challenges our assumptions about progress and social welfare. Fewer people are on the street, but the challenge has just shifted. Many of those who once slept in public spaces have moved out of sight, finding temporary refuge in shelters, low-cost rooms, or even internet cafes. The visible signs of homelessness may be less obvious, but the underlying struggles remain as urgent as ever. In fact, some experts warn that the problem is simply being hidden from view, rather than truly solved. According to the latest government survey, South Korea's homeless population has dropped by over 11% in just 3 years. This statistic is often cited as evidence of effective policy and social progress. Government officials point to increased funding for shelters, expanded outreach programs, and new housing initiatives as key factors behind the decline. On paper, these numbers look promising, and they do reflect real efforts to address the issue. That's progress. But here's what the numbers don't show. Statistics can only tell part of the story. They don't capture the day-to-day realities faced by those who are still struggling to find stable housing, or the emotional toll of living on the margins of society. Many people who are technically no longer homeless are still living in precarious conditions, with little security or support. The data also doesn't account for those who avoid official counts, slipping through the cracks of the system. A majority of homeless individuals are now concentrated in the Greater Seoul region, with nearly 76% of street homeless living there. This concentration means that the problem is becoming more localized, and in some neighborhoods, the presence of homelessness is as visible and as urgent as ever. The city's rapid development and rising cost of living have pushed many vulnerable people into even more difficult circumstances. Over half of all homeless people in Korea are in Seoul alone. The capital's dense population and high housing prices make it especially challenging for those on the margins to find affordable places to live. For many, the dream of stability feels increasingly out of reach as they compete for limited resources and support in a city that never sleeps. And the issue is aging fast. The face of homelessness in Korea is changing, with a growing number of elderly people finding themselves without a permanent home. Many of these seniors have spent decades working hard, only to find themselves isolated and vulnerable in their later years. The social safety net, while improving, often fails to catch those who need it most. Almost 37% of shelter residents are seniors, and in some facilities, nearly half are over 65. These older adults face unique challenges, from declining health to limited job prospects. Many have no family to turn to, and their options for rebuilding their lives are few. The shelters provide a temporary solution, but long-term answers remain elusive. Many live in tiny low-cost rooms called jokbang, often with little support. These cramped spaces, sometimes no larger than a closet, offer a roof but little else. Residents may go days without meaningful social interaction, and the lack of privacy or basic amenities can take a heavy toll on mental and physical health. For some, jokbang living is a last resort, a fragile lifeline in a city that can feel indifferent to their struggles. Most became homeless after losing jobs, family breakdown, or failed businesses. Economic instability, rising living costs, and a lack of affordable housing have all contributed to the problem. For many, a single setback, like an illness, a layoff, or a divorce, can be enough to push them over the edge. The path to homelessness is often sudden and unexpected, and the journey back can be long and uncertain. While the government is planning new support programs, real progress takes public awareness and empathy. Policy changes and funding are important, but so is the willingness of society to see and support its most vulnerable members. Community organizations, volunteers, and everyday citizens all have a role to play in building a more inclusive and compassionate Korea. Let's look beyond the numbers. Every statistic represents a real person, with hopes, fears, and a story worth hearing. By understanding the deeper causes of homelessness and recognizing the humanity of those affected, we can begin to create lasting change. Share this story and support a society where everyone matters. Together, we can help ensure that progress is not just a matter of numbers, but a reflection of true compassion and solidarity. The journey to end homelessness in Korea is far from over. But with awareness, empathy, and action, a better future is possible for all.